is a show that focuses on the person behind the brony. I'm your host, OsakaJack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest brony. Hello, everyone. This is Into the Spotlight with OsakaJack. Today, I have somebody with me who... you know what? I'm going to keep your location a secret, just in case you have to hide a bit longer from those that are hunting you.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally joking if anybody doesn't know. Seriously, get out your sarcasm factors when you're listening to me because it's necessary. But, Mr. Marjan Lion, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you. And yourself?
Not too shabby.
Good
It's a
to
little
hear.
early for me, but it's okay. It's approaching noon, so we're fine. We're fine.
Very good. Very good. Well, it's about 7 o'clock here, and it's a very nice evening so far. So,
Good. Knock on wood. That's wonderful.
yep, yep, yep.
So I'm sorry, but I have to ask the screen name, Marjan Lion.
Yes.
What
Yes.
is the etymology behind this?
Well, I adopted the name it'd be about 11 years ago now.
Okay.
I originally I was in the furry community,
Okay.
and my character was a lion,
Okay.
and I needed a name, and it just so happened that back then there was a story that came out from a zoo in Kabul.
Okay.
Yeah, Afghanistan there, and there's a lion that was he was
Oh.
maimed by a grenade actually,
Oh.
and it was really unfortunate, really sad story.
Yeah.
And anyway, he passed away, but he made world news because of the fighting that was going on there at the time.
Right.
And anyway, so when I heard this story, I the name just kind of it stuck with me. It was like my way of sort of honoring his memory in a
Okay.
sense. So yeah, so I adopted the name, and I've been known as Marjan ever since. And
Oh, okay. All
mhm,
right.
yeah,
Just I have to admit, first few time. Well, no, not first few time. Almost every time I saw it, my first thought was margarine. And I
I
was
get
like,
that a lot.
butter lion. Okay, well,
Oh,
they're kind of colored the same. Sure, why not? It's a butter lion.
sure, sure, yeah. I've been called that. I've been called Margins. I've been
Okay,
called
yeah, yeah.
Marge, as in Marge Simpson. In fact,
Homer. Okay,
yeah,
yep.
yeah. And some of my friends actually just shorten it to Marge, but I'm kind of used to that, so that's no problem there. But yeah, it's that's where the name came from, and like I said, it's just
Yeah.
stuck with me all along. So
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Well, it's original, and that works.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
I know that as of the time of recording this, you don't have an OC yet.
I don't.
Hmm.
No. No, I
So
don't.
now knowing this story, are you considering making a lion OC or perhaps zebra OC
Well, I've
or
had
just
some
pony with a odd lion mane to it?
that was one of my thoughts actually. I was considering something along those lines, a little bit bushier fur around the neck area, maybe a
Hmm.
lionish pony of some sort.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but we'll have to see.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to give it some thought
Mm,
as to
sure.
uh,
Yeah, you
what.
got to be careful with your OC. I'm uh, all respect to people who can pump one out very quickly, but yeah, it took me months to decide on mine. Need to
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Well, because it's got to be personal. It's got to be. Well, I mean, not saying that it has to be, but for
well,
me,
yes.
I'd want it something that represents me
Mm, mm,
as much as possible.
yeah.
And so, yeah, like I said, I never really gave it a thought before.
Mm.
But yeah, I should probably look into look into doing that soon. So.
Well, I mean, there have not been many carnivores appearing on the show, but we have had Zakura, which
Hmm.
implies, and Twilight knew what she was immediately. Oh, it's a zebra.
Yeah.
So that implies that there are other zebras.
Yeah. 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 Well, at least the Twilight knows. None of the others seem to really know at first, but
Yeah. And we
yeah.
have seen a manticore, which is
Yes.
half
Yeah.
lion, so,
Yeah.
or at least part lion. It can
Yes.
be assumed that lions are known of. Uh,
Exactly. Exactly. And and I'm sure actually it strikes me there was the episode with Apple Bloom was taming
Taming lions. That's correct. Yes, you're
yes.
correct. Yep, there are lions.
So there we go. So I think I think I'll be able to find my find my OC in somewhere in there with that. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, yeah. So
Well,
mhm.
okay, so I made a joke about it, your location being secret, but it's not
Yes.
really a secret. But you are
Yeah.
located up in the wild, wild north.
The wild north, yes. Yeah, the cold, cold, snowy. Well, it's actually not too snowy right now, but yeah. And
Guarantee
up.
you it's more snowy than it is here. If you have even the chance of snow, then it's more snowy than it is here.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, it has been a little chilly, but it's getting better. But yes, I'm up here in Canada, beautiful Calgary, Alberta, in fact, home of the Stampede. So, yeah, it's very nice. I've lived here all my life,
Mm-mm.
born and raised, and yeah, it's nice. I've got well, I've got the Rocky Mountains right nearby, which are always nice to get out and visit. If I
Sure.
want to go camping, things
Right.
like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Or sing
and
John Denver songs. You have to go there to sing John Denver
absolutely,
songs. Right.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. It's very, very, very nice for that. Um, that gives me a good idea. I'd like to go out there and do that now.
The fact that you haven't just shocks me. I just imagine everybody going to the Rocky Mountains. Okay, so Rocky Mountain High on three. One, two, three. And just like hear a chorus of people all around the area picking it up. Rocky Mountain High. Okay.
Well, in Canada, I mean, generally, if you want a song to cat that everyone else will join in with,
Yeah.
you have to sing, some hockey song or the hockey song, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah, if you start singing that, generally you're gonna have others that'll join in with you.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that would be interesting to do that. So, but yes, I'm here in Canada, and like I said, it's nice. It's very nice. Have my have Tim Hortons up here, of course, and also home of kind of proud of the fact that My Little Ponies created just west of here in Vancouver.
Very true. Very true.
Or yeah, so that's a nice little proud little fact there. But yeah, it's very nice. It's very
Hmm.
nice. So. Hmm.
Well, okay, so I just have to touch on it real fast. I have
Sure.
heard,
Mhm.
I don't have the exact numbers, but I have heard that in Canada there are more Tim Hortons per capita than there are McDonald's and Starbucks combined per capita in America.
I could believe it.
Hmm.
I really could. Starbucks competes. I will say this. Starbucks really competes, especially downtown here. On my way to work, I'll pass by. Let's see, there'd be four Starbucks, but
Oh my
there's
goodness.
six, but there's six Tim Hortons that I pass by along the way. So,
Wow.
so yeah. So I think there might be some truth to that. Yeah, it's very nice though. I mean, I love my triple triple. That's
Triple, triple.
Mhm.
Um, all right, hold on, let me imagine. Okay, triple shots of espresso and triple foam? I don't know.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. No, it's triple cream and triple sugar.
Oh, okay, okay, all
Yeah.
right. So I would
I
call
like.
that the hyper buzzy myself.
I call it very, very happy morning juice. It wakes you up, and yeah, I'm ready for anything after that. Um, Actually, I started drinking those because at work, um, all my coworkers, excuse me, would drink those,
Mhm.
and I was never a big fan of coffee. I
Right.
never really did like it, but they were always going there, so I figured, well, let's see. I like mochas,
Right.
so maybe yeah, so maybe they can, if they put lots of cream and lots of sugar in it, it'll kind of it'll nullify the coffee taste. And, so that's how I ended up getting into these triple triples, and
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So they're very tasty, and
I have to admit I am, and I apologize to some of the fans that I know are coffee fanatics, but yeah, I don't care for coffee very much. But I
Hmm.
admit I love the smell. I
Yeah.
absolutely adore the smell of coffee. When I was in graduate school, I actually had just a really small 2 cup coffee maker.
Okay.
And on tough nights, I would make some coffee and then
Hmm.
dump it out.
Oh, wow. Just for the smell.
Just to get the smell through the apartment and, that's nice. Okay, let's have a soda.
That I can see that. I can see that if you appreciate the smell of it.
And
Absolutely.
I
Why
and I know people will say, why didn't you just get coffee scented candles or something, or coffee scented incense? Not the same. Not the
no,
same at all.
absolutely not. I totally understand. And yeah, I can agree to some extent. The smell of coffee it's a very nice smell. It's got a hint of bitterness to it, but it's a nice flavor.
When
Nice smell to it.
when I was at graduate school, I used to work overnight at the supermarket, and around 3:30, 4 a.m., I'm the only person in the store, and it's hard to stay awake. So I would
Yeah.
go over to the bulk section where they had the bulk coffees that you could, scoop out and then grind yourself. And I would
Yes.
just like open the tray, and the next one, and then go back to work.
Well, I suppose that's your coffee shot there
Yeah,
that
yeah.
woke you right up. Huh. That's wow. If that works for you, absolutely.
Yep. I would
Very good.
totally have tried to rent an apartment if there was one over a Starbucks.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Not
That
coffee, just for the scent every morning. Oh, this is nice.
it's an interesting thought. I like that. Uh,
Well, you live in Canada, but rather recently you took a large trip to my time zone.
yes, I did. I did. Beautiful Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. We were there in the very end of August, early September. Which of
Which
course,
was it? Just you taking a vacation, or
it was myself and my good friend Tercy. Him and I, we travel the world together pretty
oh,
well.
nice.
Yeah, and so I've always wanted to visit Australia.
Uh-huh.
It's a place that has always fascinated me since I was a kid,
Right.
and so we had this opportunity to. We have another friend down in Melbourne
Mhm.
that I was interested in meeting up with, and that so. We looked at it. We were checking the flights, and it's like, well, this is doable.
Nice.
So yeah, so we did it. We
Mhm.
actually made a big trip of it all. We started off going to Everfree Northwest,
Oh, nice.
which was absolutely amazing. Uh, True, best experience ever there. And then from there we left for Australia, and yeah, we were there for 3 weeks down there, and best yeah, just the best experience I could ever imagine.
Were all 3 weeks in Melbourne, or did you travel around?
We traveled around. We flew into Brisbane
Okay.
first,
Right. Right.
stop, and we were there for a few days.
I can tell you have visited the area because any of my friends or family who have not listened to an Australian speak will say Brisbane.
Yes. Yeah, it took me a bit to get myself used to the fact that it's not pronounced that way, but
Mhm.
once I did, yeah, I understood.
Okay, so sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. We got to Brisbane.
Yeah, so we were there for a few days and tour around the city and the very first experience I had in Australia was well, of course getting off the plane, but we went we went to this koala sanctuary, and
Nice.
a- and I'll tell you that had to have been the most perfect way to start off a trip in Australia because we I got to hold a koala bear.
Nice.
First thing, an actual live koala, and that was just amazing. I mean,
Hmm.
they're absolutely adorable,
Yeah, yeah.
and you could feed the kangaroos like it's just a petting zoo.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, something. Yeah, over here you get to maybe some goats or you know that. But
I can admit, sorry, a little bit of bragging. Over here, there is a zoo at the base of Mount Fuji that has kangaroo petting and feeding area, and then white kangaroo petting and feeding area. They
really,
have a collection of albino kangaroos, and yeah. Okay,
wow.
sorry, done bragging. Go ahead.
No, that's I find that fascinating too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just remarkable. Like I said, to have my first day, my first ever time in Australia, and here I'm feeding kangaroos and petting them and and wallabies and holding a koala bear. Like it just couldn't have started off any better.
Mhm.
So yeah, so we did that, and then we like I said, we toured around Brisbane just a little bit,
Yeah.
just the area there, and we had a beautiful apartment hotel combination.
Okay, kind of like a hostel then.
Kind of. It was a very strange setup the way they had it. It was a very nice, beautiful view up there, but
Mhm.
it's an apartment basically, and
Okay.
they wouldn't. You took care of everything up there. Like you made your own beds. You did everything like that.
Mhm.
Come in after you leave, like after your stay and change everything. But otherwise, you took care of everything for yourself.
Huh.
But it was cheaper, which was nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and the view up there was just remarkable. I mean, it was an amazing view overlooking downtown
Mhm.
and the city and that. So yeah, it was a great stay up there.
Huh. Very nice.
Mhm. And then we headed down from there by train
Mm.
to Sydney,
Okay.
and we only had a day in Sydney, but
Ah.
that was beautiful.
Mhm.
I've been to Paris and I've been to several cities in the States and things like that, and
Yeah.
but Sydney really lived up to the hype
Oh
that
wow.
I had inside. Like just the the moment I walked out in the harbor there, and you see the opera house and you see the bridge, and it's
Mm.
just wow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful, beautiful.
Mhm.
To anyone out there that has wanted to see Sydney, absolutely do it. It is well worth it. Uh,
And to anybody out there who lives in Sydney, go out and appreciate your city. Seriously.
exactly. Appreciate it because you have a Canadian over here that absolutely loves your city. Beautiful place. Beautiful place.
I think I don't know. I think there's a big difference if somebody is visiting an American city or Canadian city or Australian city or New Zealand city versus visiting a European city or a Japanese or some, just because there isn't a large amount of history we have.
Yes.
I mean, America is approaching its, oh, what is it, 7724, 239th birthday.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
will be when Everfree Northwest happens, 239th birthday. So
Yep.
at most, we can claim, oh yeah, well, we've been around for almost 250 years. And
Yeah.
in the meantime, over here, Nara is the city of Nara is this year. Yeah, this year they're celebrating their 1400th anniversary.
Wow. Wow. That's just amazing to me. I
I
mean,
know.
that's fantastic. That
And this is how sad the economy is. They're having trouble getting funding for the celebration. I'm like, how
really
many 1400-year anniversaries do you have? Find the money somewhere, please.
absolutely. Geez, 1400 years and they can't. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they have to figure out a way to
I
do that.
know. But yeah,
That's
it's a huge difference. I mean, 1400 years, you're going to find ancient temples and ancient items, and go to European cities and there'll be ancient cathedrals, and they're beautiful, I'm sure. I'm
oh
absolutely sure. I'm not downplaying that at all. But
yeah,
if you go to American, Australian, New Zealand, Canadian city, it's not going to be ancient architecture. So we have to find the newer items, I guess.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Like Calgary here, I believe is it would be just over 100 years that the city's been here, and so for history wise, I mean, we have the old city hall, which has been there for a long time, but
Right.
no,
And not trying to downplay that at all.
oh yeah, yeah, but nowhere near what you'd get over in Paris, for example.
Yes, exactly.
And when we were there in Paris, that was the biggest reason that I wanted to go was just the history. I
Yeah.
mean, and to actually stand there and know that, like we stood beneath the Arc de Triomphe, and knowing that Napoleon was here, like,
Yeah.
and all this history happened right here. It just
Yeah.
blew my mind, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I'm kind of driving the point here, but if you go
Hmm.
to a city in America or stuff, you're like, wow, my grandfather stood here.
Yeah,
Not as really impacting. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Well, it does to a
There
degree.
are, yeah. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Washington slept here. That's amazing. Okay, yeah, yeah, I get it. I get it. But not the extent of 2,000 years ago there was something here. No.
Exactly, exactly. Or yeah, that was the biggest thing. I mean, with Australia, it was still newer,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
so there wasn't quite as much history, um, as far as historical sites and things like that. But Paris, on the other hand, was certainly a place if you wanted to go for history, because to visit. Well, they had what was it, Roman ruins
Right.
that you could see. Like, wow,
Yeah.
Roman ruins right there. It
Mm-hmm.
just you only see that on TV shows over here. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's and like I said, for me, I absolutely love historical sites and things like that. So that's why I like to get out and travel as much as I can.
Sure. Sure.
So
Understandably. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
So Sydney is definitely on the to-do list for anybody. You highly
yes,
recommend it. Okay.
yes, highly recommended. Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
So
Everybody go to Sydney. That's yeah,
yes,
there we go.
and if you visit the Opera House, I gave it a hug. I promised I would do it. I promised my mom that I would, when I got there, I would give it a hug,
Hmm.
which sounds really ridiculous, hugging a building, but it's the Opera House, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so I did. It's right.
Now, if it
Yeah,
hugs back, then that's when it gets odd.
that's
That's a little creepy, but
that's when you start backing away. But
yeah. What? You started it. Come back here. Okay, gonna leave now. Something with
open
the
you up.
Australian water is affecting me badly.
Very true.
Well, you mentioned that you do travel, and we've said Paris and Sydney. What are some of the other locations that you've gone?
Well, internationally, or sorry, overseas, I've only been to Australia and to Paris so far.
Okay, okay,
I'm hoping to get out to visit Germany
okay.
at some point as well. But aside from that, I travel in the States, in the U.S.
Nothing wrong at all with intra-national travel. Nothing at all. Or
Exactly.
intracontinental, I guess I would say.
Yeah, yeah. It's fantastic, really. There's a lot of amazing places in the U.S. that I've visited, and it's funny because even though I'm Canadian, I haven't seen as much of Canada as I have of America.
Huh.
Yeah, I've never been further east than Manitoba.
Okay.
Example, I've only visited 4 provinces in my country, and yet I've been to what was my last tally? I think it was 32 states
Oh wow.
that I've been to. Yeah.
Impressive.
So yeah, so I've seen a lot of the US, and
Mm-hmm.
but I love it down there. I mean, it's there's all sorts. You can see a bit of everything down there, and that's what I really appreciate about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can see deserts in
Yep.
Arizona, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see swampland and all that,
Yeah.
in Louisiana, and just anything and everything. It's really nice, yeah, I've had a great time down there, and I have a lot of friends down there too, which
Mm-hmm.
really helps. Again,
Yeah, I
my
would imagine that helps a lot.
yeah, yeah. Like again, my friend Tercy there, he's down there, so I visit him frequently and
Mhm.
that. So yeah, it's very nice to get down there.
That's good. Yeah, I highly recommend people to travel within their own sphere. I mean, even if
Hmm.
it's not that far. It I don't know, it was kind of a pet peeve of my friend and I in high school. We would have so many people who would say, "Oh man, I can't wait to explore other planets and explore other areas and go to the stars." And we're like, "You've never been out of this city. You've got a car, and there's a
Yep.
wonderful highway system that centralizes here. Why do
Yeah,
you think you're going to explore a different planet when you haven't been 50 miles away from here in 4 years?
that's a good point. That's exactly it. I mean,
Yeah.
people, they really should. They should, and to that extent, I really should explore more of Canada. There's a lot to see here too, um, that I haven't seen yet. But yeah, definitely, get out and
Yeah.
see what you can around your own area. It's.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here quite a while, and there are people who have been here as long as I have, and they're shocked to find out that the only countries that I've ever visited have been America,
Hmm.
Canada, I did a driving trip, and Japan, and that's it. And
Yeah,
like, don't you travel? And my response is, I've been by train to almost every prefecture in Japan.
yeah.
I've been inside Japan, so I take trips within Japan so often. No, I have not been to Korea or Thailand or Singapore, and I'd like to go someday. But there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with just taking a train trip for a day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's always different sites. There's
Yeah,
different people to meet. There's all sorts of things that you can see just within, a day's drive or
yeah.
by train or whatever. So, yeah, absolutely. It's
I mean, I would not have seen the National Toilet Museum had I not traveled within Japan.
wow.
And
Um
I promise you that is a thing. And
that's
it's not
very
as fickle as the name suggests.
wow. I didn't know that even existed, but
It's
huh.
actually a lot more
So
interesting than you would think. It talks about the mechanics of toilets, how they have changed over the years from the chain pull down to the uh, more current model and Western versus Jap. It was interesting. I
huh.
promise it was interesting learning how toilets have evolved over the last few hundred years.
I suppose as long as they don't have demo models out or things like that, then
Well, the only
yeah.
disadvantage is being in that area long enough, you're like, it's classical conditioning, especially for male. If a male just looks at a toilet, very
Mhm.
soon they will feel the need to use the restroom. So going through that enough, you're like, okay, where's the actual restroom? The one that I can use. Where is it? Where is it?
Oh wow.
I guess that's Japan's version of the largest ball of twine. Or
There you go. Their claim to fame, I suppose.
I found it interesting. If I had the time, I would go back and I would take pictures. Oh, I saw the while doing a train trip way north in Japan, I found a park that claims to have the grave of Christ.
Really?
Yep. They
Wow.
claim that it
Yeah.
wasn't actually Jesus on the cross, but that he switched places with his brother at the last minute,
I
and
see.
then he traveled east through India and got on a boat and went to Japan and lived in this area of Japan and then died there.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, that explains why they haven't been able to find him all this time.
Well,
Very
the
interesting.
city claims that up until 30 years ago there were people with blue eyes that naturally lived in the area, and that's their evidence for it. I'm like, okay.
Well, if that's what they choose to believe, I suppose. Hmm.
It was a beautiful area, and I'm happy to have
Yeah.
explored the area, but yeah,
Yep.
just really, grave of Christ, huh? Okay,
Well, there we go. Mystery solved,
there
everyone.
we go. I guess so. That's all right.
Huh. Well, the things you find when you go traveling within your own region.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
It's amazing. Oh wow.
Well, just real quick, let's do the opposite side of that. Has there been
Okay.
a location that you've traveled and you've just, for whatever reason, could not even be the fault of the area, but you just said, no more, I'm not coming back here?
Hmm. Um. Trying to think. You know, to be honest,
Hmm.
so far, no.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough that the places I've visited, I would certainly go back to again.
Okay.
Maybe with a little more preparation.
Right.
For example, with Australia, there, it was a lot more expensive visiting than I expected.
Okay. Okay.
And not just not the travel wise, that was fine. It just the cost of doing anything there or
Hmm.
eating,
Okay.
things like that. So if I could do it over again, I would prepare for it a bit more. But no, I've been really fortunate that everywhere I've been to has been fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And I would happily see it again. I mean, right across the states, like we did a drive from Florida to California, and
Nice.
yeah, and every state we visited was just amazing. Like
Hmm.
they all had their own uniqueness to it, which was really
Sure.
really cool to see.
Hmm.
And yeah, there was not a stop along there that I would say that I didn't enjoy or that I wouldn't want to come back to again someday. So
Nice.
yeah.
I know that my hometown, St. Louis,
Hmm.
quite often I would drive by and they have like the site historically marked the beginning of the first interstate highway started
Okay.
in St. Louis,
See.
1955, I think it was.
Hmm.
And that's Highway 70. I don't know
Oh,
why it wasn't Highway 1. I don't, whatever. I
yeah.
don't understand numberings, but okay, you want that to be 70, that's fine. But
Yeah.
Highway 70, I believe it starts in
Okay.
Pittsburgh, and it literally goes to Los Angeles.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, if I had just 2.5, 3 weeks off sometime, I'd love to just drive the whole thing.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome to do?
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
would.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I've been fortunate enough that I've gotten to do long stretches along quite a few of the interstates. 10,
Okay,
which was from Florida across to California.
right.
We followed it right from Florida to Arizona, I believe, is where we
Nice.
finally
That's
got
right.
that.
Yeah, it does go through Arizona. Hmm.
Yeah, so we got to see a whole lot of that. I've been the entire stretch of Interstate 15. Um,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I've right from Los Angeles right up to the Canadian border. I've
Oh,
done that and five. So yeah, so it's nice to be able to do that if you could and
yeah.
just hop on a road and go.
Well, I mentioned it in a previous interview, but one job when I was in graduate school, I had a job working at a community college, and
Mhm.
it was a good 2.5 hours away from me, 2.5 hours
Yeah,
drive,
yeah.
and it wasn't much money, but I loved it
Mm,
because the drive, the 2.5 hour drive. If I took the interstate, it would have been I would have cut my time about 20 minutes,
yeah.
but the drive was literally on Route 66.
Oh, very nice. Very
And it
nice.
was in springtime and just the beginning of summer. And you know what? I really enjoyed the 4 hour total commute just because it was a wonderful drive right through
Mhm.
Route 66 in springtime, and I could have my window, my arm out the window as I'm driving, like I'm getting paid for this.
Wow, that would be very, very nice.
Oh,
Very
it's
nice.
beautiful.
That's one road I haven't done yet that I'd love to just because, just
I
to say
wish
I've
it
done.
was fully intact anymore, but driving a piece of it is really nice. But the fact
Yeah.
that it doesn't remain as a whole anymore means if you want to drive the whole thing, you have to drive and then stop and back up and drive around it and find where it starts up again. And
I see. I see.
unfortunately, not really worth the effort to drive the whole thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you can find a
Uh,
small piece, that's still wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the closest I've come to was just briefly touching it. I think in Arizona is where it came out or stopped. I'm not sure exactly where it ends,
Yeah.
but somewhere around there, it said Route 66, and it's like, oh, well, there it is. Look at that.
Yep.
But one day.
I think we were speaking of history. That's going to be the part of American history that sticks out for me. I drove
Yep.
Route 66 for a full summer.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Well, I mean, there's
Napoleon didn't walk it, no, but Chuck Berry did, and darn
what
it, that's good enough in my book.
there you go. And I think if Napoleon was alive now, he would walk it because
Yeah, or
it's worth it.
drive it
Or
anyway.
yeah, yeah, or yeah. So,
Well, I'm going to bring this up real quick just because I
okay,
like controversy, but
sure.
the Kreber family is incredibly Canuck fan.
Yes, yes, they are.
What would be your response to this?
Well, at the risk of getting glares from Michelle,
You can feel her glares through the internet. I've tried.
I,
It hurts.
it does. She has that power.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's a creeper fact right
Yep.
there. No, yeah, the Canucks and my hometown Flames, they're not very friendly towards one another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good rivalry. I respect the Canucks. Uh, I respect their skill. I'm gritting my teeth as I say this.
With the
They're
risk of sounding stereotypical, this is the most Canadian response I've ever heard in my life.
uh, I hate them. I can't stand the Canucks. They're just oh no they no no I can't really say that. No, they're not that bad. No, they're a good team and all that, but yeah, I can't cheer for them. I just can't. I apologize. I am sorry, Michelle. I'm sorry, Monique. I am so sorry, you guys. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So, yeah. However, that said, my team really could. We're at the bottom right now, so it's pretty embarrassing. Um, you know, I was watching their uh, Speed and Stretch, just the recent episode there, and I certainly felt Michelle and Mando's pain. I was just bowing my head and tears flowing down my
I,
cheeks.
I I think it would be nice if we reshot that scene and instead of
Mhm.
wearing specific jerseys, if they just wear like bright green jerseys and we can green screen whatever team we'd like on there.
That's a good idea.
So
That's a
just the
good
pain they
idea.
feel can be whatever team is losing at this time. And
Well, actually, I was hoping to offer a suggestion for a future skit where they could instead of them feeling bad about their teams, they could see me and see my Flames jersey, and they'd suddenly feel better about themselves. So
well,
just
my hometown, St. Louis, we have the St. Louis Blues, and I'm
yes.
sorry, I have no idea how they have been doing for the past decade. I really don't know.
No,
Hockey news does not make it to Japan. It's
that's understandable.
they know of hockey,
Mhm.
but only to the extent where you have to call it ice hockey for them to understand what you're talking about.
It's that way down in the States in some places.
Some places, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, he, I tend to use ice hockey and field hockey instead of just hockey, so I can
Mhm.
easily differentiate.
Yep, yep.
But
Abs-
I know that they are trying. There are some groups trying to bring ice hockey here. For example,
yeah.
in Osaka, there is a volunteer team that's formed called the Ice Killers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That inspires fear. That's a very good name.
It's an okay name on the surface, but the more you think about it, the more flaws there are. Ice Killers implies that they're going to destroy the rink and not really play very well.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of does actually now
Yeah.
that you mention it.
And if you
Yeah.
say it quickly enough, the S sound from the ice and killers kind of goes together. It sounds almost like skillet. Ice Killers.
Very true,
And
yeah.
I haven't researched it, but I'm not quite sure what the mascot would be, but that would be terrifying.
I'm imagining some guy out there with an ice pick, just
Yeah.
picking the ice. That ice killers. There you go.
Just this
Cool.
disgruntled bartender.
There you go.
Which actually, that'd be a good team name too. The disgruntled bartender.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Um, that's in the new NHL expansion. The disgruntled bartenders. Yeah, I believe they're playing in Kansas City, I think, or somewhere around there. No,
I,
just kidding.
I, so just as an American, I can tell you that the only time you have to worry is when the XHL starts up.
Oh, geez.
So if they start
Yeah.
making a version like the X and the NFL, the XEVA, if they start making an extreme hockey version, that's when you need to find a new fandom, find a new
Well,
sport to join.
and that's the thing. I think about that, and given the fact that hockey has the heart, the hitting and the fights and all that, can it get more extreme?
Sure, sure. We'll just
uh,
include buffer zones and like bumper pool. We'll just like
oh,
put bumpers around the whole thing. So instead of slamming against somebody, that won't hurt them. That'll give them a chance to do a rope-a-dope and just knock you down.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah, yeah.
I like this idea. I'm a Canadian, and I like this idea.
And we'll also do like hotspots. Just have
Ah,
this like heat lamp over the rink, and it rotates slowly, so that area will be much more difficult to skate on. So there's a chance that if you're not paying attention to where the heat lamp is, that you'll just bam fall on your face for no reason. Yeah,
uh, you have some interesting ideas, my friend. Well, hey, you never know what can happen in the future. I
yeah.
mean, hockey's constantly changing and evolving. I don't know if it'll ever involve heat lamps, but who knows? Who knows what's in the future?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it'll make it more exciting for some folks out there.
Okay. So last idea on it, we'll do
Yes.
similar to laser tag. I don't know who out there is old enough to remember laser tag.
Ah, yes.
But you would have this thing on your chest and then this little laser gun, and if you shoot somebody 5 times, then their little chest thing would vibrate and they were
Yes.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
So do similar in hockey, but put it on their back, and it'll be like every time that back part gets hit with a puck, that's 1 point
Ah.
against them, and 5 points, and then it just goes, and that person is out of the game. Your team has one less player.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So the object wouldn't necessarily be get the puck in the net. It would
Well,
be
the
get.
object would still be getting the puck in the net, but if you
Oh,
can hit somebody in the back enough
I see.
times, that's less opposition to getting your puck into the net.
I see. I see. Well, I'll tell you. Given my current team's skill level at aiming everywhere else except the net, I'm thinking we might actually do really well in this new league.
We need to start claiming this. This is a great idea.
We do. You heard it here first, folks. That's a fantastic idea.
Well, and all right, but St. Louis right now for baseball, the Cardinals is the
Yes.
team. But if you go back about a century, it
Mhm.
used to be the St. Louis Browns,
Okay.
and they were not very good at baseball,
Hmm.
but they were the toughest SOBs you ever came across. And
Really?
their pitcher would aim at you, and when they were charging to first base, they would plow you over to get to first base.
Wow.
They would start fights. The catcher would intentionally like make it so that the batter would intentionally swing back a little bit too hard to try and hit the catcher.
Oh,
The idea
geez.
was they would physically intimidate the other team, and this is before safety gear. You have to remember.
Oh my.
So they didn't have a bad
They
record just because they would beat up the other teams.
literally. That's. Wow. I've heard of a team getting a beating, but wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's an interesting way to get a win.
And of course, now if you did that, you'd be in so many lawsuits and you'd be banned and just
Uh-huh.
it would be terrible. But
Yeah. Back in the day, I suppose there was a lot less. They were more lax on the rules. I
they
suppose.
the nickname used to be the Gas House Gang
Okay.
because they were wait. Oh no, that's after they changed it to the Cardinals, but they were still kind of tough. But yeah, it
Mhm.
was the Gas House Gang just because they were so willing to fight.
Well, on the upside, it makes it entertaining too.
Oh yeah,
I'm
oh
sure.
yeah,
Painful for the players, unfortunately, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that'd be pretty exciting, I suppose. And
Uh-huh.
if it works for you, I suppose.
I think if any sport could appreciate that attempt at baseball, it would be somebody who likes hockey.
Yes. Yeah.
Beat the
Yeah.
crap out of him to win? Yeah, good strategy. That sounds
I'd
good.
I'd watch that game.
Uh,
So-
well, one question that I like to ask in all of my interviews.
Yes.
If you know it, you may be prepared, but if not, it doesn't matter. But
Okay.
the question is, in all of My Little Pony, what is the one line or one scene that defines you as a brony?
Defines me as a brony.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, given that I generally my experiences with the Brony community and my friends and all that, I tend to relate more to Spike.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so to pinpoint a specific scene would
Mm,
be tricky, but pretty well anyone that where he's helpful. Any
okay.
of the scenes where he's helpful, where he's helping, even the small menial tasks that he's in the background, you see him, dusting or things like that.
Mm,
That would uh, probably be me, really. I tend to uh, yeah, I tend to do that. I like to be, helpful when
mm,
possible, and
mm,
witty at times. I try and I have my moments where I can throw a little uh, throw a little playful jab in there at a friend or something like
right.
that in
Right.
conversation. But yeah, geez, yeah, I'm trying to think of a specific scene, but um, yeah, I'd have to say just anywhere where you see him, being helpful, even if he's in the background, just
Now, are we going to include the Spike at Your Service being helpful, where he was very anti-helpful?
uh, yeah, that one was very interesting. That whole episode turned my whole views upside down there. you know, uh, well, see, I'm a role player, right? So
Mhm.
with my friends, we role play, and we role play ponies and things like
Right.
that,
Right.
of course. So of course I have the character Spike, and so he's always been one of the ones that he's very, very helpful and very good at what he does. So he
Right.
can, his baking, things like that, tend to be really good.
Mhm,
And that episode suddenly changed all that. It suddenly,
mhm.
yeah. So that was it was a great episode, by the way. It was
Yes. Yeah, I like it.
funny episode. But yeah, so that sort of changed things, but um, not quite to that extent, though.
Okay.
To
All right.
to your question, yeah, not quite to that extent. Yeah, just general helping, helping Twilight, doing tidying, cleaning, taking care of the library. So
Okay.
yeah.
So we're keeping good care of the library.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned a bit earlier Everfree Northwest. Have you been
Yes.
to other conventions, other Brony conventions?
I haven't yet. I'm going to be visiting Equestria, LA in
Mhm.
May, which is going to be fantastic, I'm sure.
Probably.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. I actually one of my friends from Australia
Mm.
who will be coming up as well.
Oh, nice.
First time out of the country for him, so
Mhm.
uh, be visiting as well, and we'll be going to the convention. So yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic time. I'm
Nice.
really looking forward to it, and
Mhm.
and then seeing some of the voice actresses again, all that, and
Yeah.
hopefully not getting too many glares from Michelle while I'm there. And,
I'll make sure to remind her.
oh, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, but yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I actually just got my flights booked last night,
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, so it's set in stone. I will definitely be down there.
Nice.
Hmm. Aside from that, I have been to another one. I wouldn't really specifically call it a Brony convention. It was more
Okay.
it's a sci-fi convention here in town,
Okay.
where I got to meet Tara Strong
Oh,
uh,
nice.
for it. Actually, it was the one where I also got a Broha from Mr. John Delancey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was a surprise for all of us. We were at this panel, this Brony panel, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and he surprised us all by suddenly appearing in the back of the
Ah.
room. No idea that he was going to be there,
Mhm.
and yeah, so he came up and all that, and got to ask a few questions and things like that. Um, so that was really neat, and got to do that, and but yeah, EQLA is definitely going to be the next one, and then I'm also planning to do Everfree Northwest again this year.
Yay!
So yay,
I can't
yes,
mention it now, but I just got confirmation that I will be presenting at Everfree Northwest this year. Woo!
excellent, excellent, and I will so be there to see that.
Yay!
Awesome, fantastic. Yeah, that's going to be a great time too. I know last year's was one of the best convention experiences I've ever had. So everyone was so friendly, and just the atmosphere is just amazing. So
Right, right.
yeah, very, very, very much looking forward to it. So
So, is there anything else you'd like to plug while you're here?
for plugs, if I could give a shout out to some of my friends, that would.
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic! All right.
Cut him
Well,
off! Cut him off! Cut him off right now! Right now! Cut him off! No, sorry.
all right. So yeah, so all my role play friends. We'll start out with Tercy, Princess Luna, Twilight, Pinky, Rainbow Dash, Trixie, Empress Aurora, Painless. These are ones you probably don't know, obviously, but Lunaria, Imperious, and special shout out to Fluttershy, who's the sweetest, kindest, most lovable pony anywhere. So yeah,
Oh, that
to
makes
all of
sense.
them, yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
All right, and people can find you on Twitter. Do you have other accounts like DeviantArt or SoundCloud or anything?
I don't actually.
Okay.
I'm on
Nothing
Twitter.
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Skype. And I'm on Second Life, which is actually where we do our role playing. And you can find me on there if you'd like. Just Marjan Tomba, Marjan
Tomba.
Tomba.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Sort of a Second Life thing. You had to have a last name, and
Right, right.
sounded lionish, so I went with it.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So yeah, yeah.
Simba's cousin Tom, Tomba.
There you go.
Uh, well, thank you very much for coming by and speaking with us today.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
We have been speaking with Marjan Lion. Please follow him on Twitter, or if you're on Second Life, Marjan Tomba.
All right.
Everyone, this has been Into the Spotlight with OsakaJack on Everfree Network. We'll catch you next time.